Hi foodies, it's your girl Jareen. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're making some pepper steak. This dish really shows the Asian influence when it comes to our meals that we cook in Jamaica. Because I remember having this as a child at home. We never had this at a Chinese restaurant. But usually the families in Jamaica, they would get a cut of beef and then it would be cut into really thin strips and then it would be simmered for a while depending on how tough of a cut of meat it is, and then some bell peppers added. So let's get into this. I am using a sirloin steak today. We want to cut it into strips, but what you have to do now is look at the direction of those muscle fibers, those thin lines. If they run left to right, you cut up and down. So just cut in the opposite direction of them. So these are running up right here. So when I'm cutting that piece into strips, I would cut in the opposite direction of those lines. This just helps the meat to be much tender, much easier to chew. All right. Now I'm just going to be cutting off any fat or any skin, anything that I don't want on there. That's it. And then we're going to be cutting in strips. If your steak or whatever piece of beef you're using, if it is slightly frozen, it will be easier to cut these strips. Trust me. So if you can leave it in the freezer for a little bit, it'll be easier to make these strips. But if not, you can just cut them through like I did. So I'm just cutting some tiny strips. That's it. And then we're going to season. So because I'm using this cut of meat, it's not very tough, so it won't require a lot of simmering when I do cook it. But as I said, it depends on what cut of meat you choose. For cooks that are using a cheaper cut of beef, it might be tougher, so it requires a lot more. So it will be simmered for longer than I simmered my beef in this video. Now, the reason many families might have enjoyed pepper steak is because you get to use the steak, but you cut it into small pieces so it can share amongst a lot of people without, breaking budget. So we like to do a lot of the same things that are done with the original Asian dish, but sometimes we add our Jamaican spin on it. So we might include some thyme and the browning. Those are things that we use in Jamaican cookery. So you will still see the Asian influence, but there's some Jamaican, flavor in there. Now there are many ways to get this done. I'm going to be just cooking the peppers briefly in some oil. So I'm going to cook them until they are sauteed but still firm, still vibrant in color. And I'm going to be taking them out of the pot, setting them aside. The reason I'm doing that is because if you keep the pepper in the pot the whole time, it's going to overcook. So now I'm going to brown the meat or stir fry the meat in the same pot in that oil. The good thing about this dish is it is very quick if you're really using a steak that cooks really fast. So I'm really just going to sear this really quickly, take it out of the pan, and then I'm going to go in with some onion and some garlic just to get some more flavor and some Scotch bonnet. So some Jamaican flavor is going in there as well. You can use more Scotch bonnet if you want. I find that a lot of Jamaican cooks, when they originally heard about the term pepper steak, they interpreted it as peppery steak. So they used to make it very peppery. So sometimes you'll be served this dish by a Jamaican. It might be super duper spicy. So we're just going to be adding some broth and cornstarch here just to thicken up some gravy. And if you don't have broth, you can use a little water with some bouillon or just a little water and some soy sauce. I added a little bit of ketchup. Some people add a little bit of tomato or tomato paste, or you could even leave it out, but it's just a small amount of ketchup. And then we add the beef back to the pot. I'm using a steak This is gonna cook really fast, so I'm not gonna simmer this for a long time. So we'll just simmer for a few minutes, allow that gravy to cook some more, allow the beef to complete its cooking, and then we'll add the peppers again. I do prefer to add the pepper last minute because you maintain those beautiful bright colors. And that's it. It is basically done. Easy pepper steak, guys. Usually I'll have this with some potatoes or some noodles or plain rice. It's that simple, really tasty dish, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. So once you try, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.